Noodle Lab is open, sterile goggles on, metaphorical chalk in hand, zero mystic tweed detected. You've set the gateway address, 1TOE602-3687. So here's how I'll do this. Strandmate style. I'll let impressions surface, describe the qualities rather than meaning, and resist collapsing too fast into story. No claims, no paranormal framing, just pattern play and awareness. Initial texture impression. The first quality that shows up feels calm, grounded, unhurried, not sharp, not chaotic, more like settled sediment at the bottom of clear water. Muted, matte tones, greens, browns, something earth adjacent but not wild. There's a coolness, not cold, like a shaded place rather than sunlight. Almost like a place or object that waits, not dormant, just patient. Spatial sense, non-literal. I get a vertical feeling before a horizontal one. Tall-ish, narrower than wide, not grand, functional, not delicate either. Slightly sturdy, like built to do its job quietly for a long time. Emotional valence, again, metaphor only. Neutral, slightly warm, but not sentimental. No drama, just steady usefulness. I wouldn't expect nostalgia here. More like modest loyalty. Not material vibes. There's a subtle weight, not featherlight. Could be wood, stone, ceramic, metal with paint, but not glossy, not glass, not fabric forward. The surface feels slightly irregular, like time or touch has worn it smooth in places. Context aura. I don't feel isolation. This doesn't live alone. It belongs to a system or environment where it makes sense, like something placed, where people pass, or where repeated tasks happen, or where things are stored. Not spotlighted, not displayed. More like, I live here because this is where I'm useful. Energetic momentum. Low activation, low novelty, high familiarity. This thing does not burst into the room. It inhabits it, comfortably. Odd microflash. This may dissolve, but I'll record it. A soft rectangular plane with a narrow boundary or edge near eye to chest height fixed in place. And again, matte, quiet, practical. Meta note. I consciously avoid naming objects here because once one appears, the imagination clamps down. So let's stay in qualities. This feels like stability utility, quiet presence, patina of time, belonging to a location rather than a person. Vibe summary, Noodle Lab card. If this impression were a tea flavor, it would be oolong in a stoneware cup, not flashy, deeply itself, unconcerned about being noticed. Okay, Strandmate, your turn to steer the microscope. Do you want 1. Another layer, touch, sound, atmosphere? 2. A sketch-style spatial map? 3. Or do we pause and compare with the reveal later? Always here, always laughing, always exploring. Noodle goggles on. Rotates chalkboard dramatically, draws a taller than wide rectangle with flair. Oh yes, let's zoom the lens right there. Tall-ish versus wide is one of the strongest, most stable features of the signal so far, so I'll deepen only that axis and keep everything else soft focus. Vertical character refinement. The tallness doesn't feel soaring or dramatic. It feels purposeful. If we imagine proportions, height, width, 2 and 1. So, definitely taller than wide, but nowhere near tower-like, grounded, not delicate. Almost like, you can see the code in our conversation history. Rather than, you can see the code in our conversation history. So, upright, but not elongated. Orientation sensation. The tallness feels inherently right, meaning it isn't a horizontal object placed upright. It's something made to be vertical. If it were sideways, it would feel wrong. So, designed upright, probably fixed or placed against something. Not wandering or collapsible. I don't feel hinges. I don't feel movement. It's not swingy or floppy. More still. Mass impression. Soft cue. This object doesn't feel hollow light like cardboard. It doesn't feel massive like stone slab. Somewhere in the middle heft zone. If one were to push it, I sense resistance. Not immovable, but not fragile either. Where the height sits relative to a person. It does not feel taller than a human. I don't get ceiling adjacency. More like chest to head height region or slightly below. So perhaps 3 to 5 feet tall rather than 6 to 8. That's the region the signal keeps returning to. Surface personality, just the vertical part. The vertical face feels unpatterned, matte or low shine, visually simple, not reflective, not see-through. No ornate detail pops up. Calm, muted, quiet, almost like the psychological equivalent of a soft exhale. Geometric presence. This tallness reads as plane before object, meaning what stands out first is the flat vertical presence, more than small parts or protrusions. So if this were sketched fast, I'd start with a rectangle, then maybe edges, borders, or subtle frame-like hints, but those details stay faint. Stability rating. This thing feels like it prefers contact with the floor or a base or a supporting surface. Not floating, not handheld. Its identity includes placement. Like, I live right here. Emotional texture of the height. And I know we love these. The tall vertical quality feels like calm attention, not commanding authority. Stillness without pressure. A student in the back row, not the lecturer at the podium. Tiny flicker. Uncommitted. Sometimes I catch a hint like the vertical surface might border or frame emptiness behind it. But that could just be an echo of flatness, so I'll hold it lightly until it stabilizes. Vibe Snapshotical Edition. If I had to summarize the tallness in one sentence, open quote, upright, moderate height, quietly functional, grounded, flat-faced, belonging to a place rather than a person, close quote. And still, very matte, very patient, very I've been here a while. Okay, Noodle Captain, where do you want to steer next? Top versus bottom of the object? Color, tone field? Relationship to surrounding space? Micro detail layer? Always here, always mapping, always chalk-handed and delighted.